Welcome to The Advocate, a program that thrashes out all the topical issues of the day.
When you are in government, you don't see nothing wrong with whatever is happening. The moment you are out there, everything is wrong.
You can't even see many women now, and when they're there, they're not even really making a mark, and then they have an NYSC problem and this and that.
One of the reasons why we don't have more women in politics in Nigeria is for as long as political meetings continue to take place in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Really disastrous for a president
to even say
be unaware of the chief
It's
justice.
a ploy. It could be a strategy.
That strategy was very terrible strategy. Because the buck stops at your table.
Whether it's that we don't look after our cities, and quite frankly, Nigeria is becoming a very ugly place.
When you are the only one feeding the people with this news, and there is nobody countering them, it becomes, the news.
Welcome to The Advocate, where we thrash out all the topical issues of the day. We tell it like it is, no holds barred. Today, Ireti is back with a bang, asking what exactly is wrong with Nigerians. Who rattled her cage? Liboris, the only peacemaker in the house, is advising us to create the job we want instead of seeking it. Ekene has come to the conclusion that our driving culture is in fact a window into our soul. If this is the case, then many Nigerians need deliverance. Chuka is advocating that the parliamentary system is the best for Nigeria. And yours truly is wondering if Nigeria is still a democracy. Strap up, guys. This promises to be another exciting edition of The Advocate. Back in a moment. My fellow panelists, before I kick things off, I have an announcement to make. I deeply regret to inform you that Nigeria's democracy is on life support. That's the reason I'm in black today. Too dramatic? I think not. After the recent unconstitutional suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria and the immediate swearing in of another in acting capacity, completely going against court orders that prevented the CCT from going ahead with the trial of the CJN, I'm here today to advocate that Nigeria is not practicing democracy, but rather we're heading towards a dictatorship. Let me walk you through it. One only has to look at the way the police, the DSS, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and the Nigerian Army carry out their duties while dealing with civilians under the current administration to see what I mean. Under the military, there are clauses that authorize the dictatorship to act outside the Constitution. For instance, citizens can be held against their will and indefinitely with no reason given except that they pose a security threat. This action can be taken in spite of court orders. We see this happening today and under Obasanjo between 1999 and 2007. Today, I'm sure it has not escaped our notice that any prominent person that publicly criticizes this government soon has a case to answer to the police, DSS, EFCC, or even the military. Think Senator Bukola Saraki, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, Senator Dino Melaye, Senator Ben Murray Bruce, Senator Shehu Sani, Senator Oyinaya Abaribe, to name but a few. Interestingly, the security operatives till date have not disturbed Senator Ovie Omo Agege, who was shown on national TV going into the Senate chambers in the company of thugs who stole the mace. Then we have the numerous court orders that this government has blatantly ignored. Such orders include the release of the Shiite leader El Zakzaki and Dasuki. Others have directed that the government release details of the monies recovered from corruption cases and their uses. When a leader places himself above the law by acting in ways that run against the Constitution and rule of law, I think it is safe to conclude that Nigeria is currently not operating as a democracy. Over to you guys.
I see Ireti trying to jump at you. No,
that's not true.
I can actually feel her
That is
body
not
vibrating.
true. Half of that script was written for me.
Okay.
I know. You could see the side eye.
You know, the
Ladies
truth
and gentlemen,
is-
the side eye you
So
saw was me
it
sitting
has
next
now
to her.
gotten to where people are writing to people.
Yes, yeah, like writing love letters.
Yes.
Yeah, get it off your chest.
No,
Okay,
but
get
I
it.
mean, seriously, I can't say
It's
you've
a
said
sob.
anything that's
I
wrong.
was sobbing you.
Yes, there you go. I can't say you've said anything that's wrong, but what I will say is, and one of the things that I do advocate for is that democracy is not one size fits all. In all honesty, we have to get away from the fact that it's the democracy in the West that we must practice in Africa, by extension Nigeria. We need to design our own democracy that works for our culture, for our people, our understanding.
You know.
Yeah, get on. You know, we need, and I think that's where we've been failing ourselves. Don't get me wrong, of course, you know, the current administration have done
what are
several
you
things wrong.
advocating now?
No, don't
You
take
need-
Chuka has
that we
something coming
that
up.
we need
Yeah.
that we need a
Fits that
benevolent
response.
dictatorship.
Absolutely. Thank you. That was the next
Is that what
thing.
she's
Is that what you're
advocating?
advocating?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's taking us backwards to the dark
No,
ages.
not at all. We didn't have a benevolent dictator. We had dictators.
But the
There's a
problem with
difference.
benevolent dictator, sorry to, maybe
Has
I
it
should
ever
have been
worked?
sorry, is
Go
the
on.
fact that you have one benevolent dictator, even if you take the guy in Cuba, and he may even turn and become, over a while, get full of
They do
himself.
after a while.
Or even if he leaves, the person coming after him is not guaranteed to be benevolent. So you need
Robert
something that will
Mugabe started as a
transcend
benevolent
the person.
dictator.
I agree.
El-
And so,
Fidel
therefore,
Castro.
that's why we need a marrying of the two. This is it. Look,
Even Mama Gaddafi started as a
I
benevolent.
was just going to, he was
Absolutely.
even the prime example. I was
exactly,
going to give.
but also if you look at, you know, I mean, I don't want to step
Still in
into
shock.
into Chuka's area because unfortunately this is actually going to segue into yours.
Okay.
But if you look at certain systems where you have, you know, you have a prime minister and you have a prime, you have a president and a prime minister, etc. People, state, nations are described, or should I say, they're forming democracies that suits them. And I'm not saying I know the answer, but I think we need to get together and design one.
Yeah,
Let
but
me-
you're
let me
really-
ask. Let me ask though. If since we're using the word democracy, what is it that we will need to preserve so that it still is recognizable as a
democracy.
democracy?
Yeah,
Freedom.
exactly. We
Freedom.
need to
And vote.
For me,
And vote.
if we want to practice democracy, it's not us. Let's practice democracy. If we don't want to practice democracy, let's jettison democracy and
Yes,
practice
altogether.
something
Whatever
else
it is we want
and
to
call it whatever name, and not practice democracy in one breath and now say, oh,
And then
let's
become
have a
dictator in another breath.
dictator. No dictator can ever be benevolent. Fidel Castro started as a benevolent dictator.
And we see
What
where it
we need really is, what I think we need is, you know, we need somebody that will be able to apply the law, the
Thank
rules.
you.
Yes.
That's where I
Across
wanted to go.
board,
Absolutely.
irrespective of whose house is
yes,
God.
yes.
If you say we come, this program is 11 a.m., we come 11 a.m. and we're good to go. By 2 minutes past 11, you're not here, you're not
You're not
here,
coming
the
in.
studio is locked. That's the rule. The moment you now begin to allow some people in,
Shape it.
what you're telling others is, look, you can come in late anyway. Look at the Niger Delta. People carried arms. They said, oh, you know, because the society didn't treat them well, you need to give them amnesty. And what some of us advocated then was, look, is dangerous, because what you're telling those who are not yet carrying
Exactly.
arms
Is to
is
say,
that
go
it
and do
pays
it.
to carry arms.
Yes.
And then get the
And-
amnesty, yeah.
And then get amnesty. And now look at what kidnapping had turned to.
Yes.
And now some people are even proposing amnesty for kidnappers.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so what we need really is a system where laws will be applied across board. Not to look at somebody, oh yeah, this man, yeah, he was
Respect
caught
for
on
others,
camera
people.
collecting dollars. You say he has immunity, and your party gives him a second
Isn't that
ticket.
what Atiku is saying yesterday
And
that
then
he was
somebody
gonna
else
do?
says, I will give amnesty to looters,
Yes.
provided they bring the money
Yeah.
back. What you're telling them is,
He said he would consider it. Let's
well,
not
what you're
say that
telling
he
them,
actually said
You're
it.
already
what you're
sending a
telling them
message.
is, go loot, bring some
We'll
back,
forgive you.
and we'll forgive you.
That's right.
We also saw it with this current administration, where they say bring the money.
Yes.
And even Oshomole said, once you join us, Oshomole
Yeah,
didn't
once you
even
join,
say you bring back.
Yeah, he said
Once
you
you
join
join
us.
us,
You're
still-
forgiven.
So what that,
That's
you
right.
can't build a democracy. The fact is that we're truly not ready.
Yeah,
And
that's
what we're doing is, you chase the ones that stole before, while yours are stealing.
Okay,
So the next man that will come will be chasing the ones that stole from you.
Yes. A lot of people have said, and I tend to agree with them, that it's not even about the system you're operating within, it's the people. So you can even go and design the best democracy.
I keep saying,
put it in. If the will of the people is still to bend it and apply it in the way that is biased, then they'll still apply it in the way that is biased.
It's about the system. We need to put in
it's not the system, really.
The right processes.
It's not even the people.
Check,
World over, people commit crimes.
Yes, exactly.
But what regulates? It's the application of the
we
law.
don't have enough laws to regulate.
Application. I didn't say law.
It's the people. Who will apply it.
And the application is the people.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't apply themselves.
When you say the people, that for me is fallacious.
The will is lacking.
When you say the people, it's fallacious.
Because the people empower.
Exactly. You know, when you say the people, be specific.
And it's always the
when
people
you say
in power
the people,
that fail the system.
But isn't there a saying that says the people get the leaders?
the man who drives against traffic, he's driving against traffic because you see a policeman who is driving against traffic.
Yes.
Yeah, but the policeman came from the society.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
because
what I think saying.
When I was in London and then a military man was arrested for over speeding and said he's been at war and he didn't know. And the law says no excuse because you can't claim ignorance. But here, we see military people break the law.
Reckless.
We see policemen break the law, and then the law looks the other way.
Yes.
And we see people in high places break the law. We see president disobey court orders, and you say, oh, look, we can't do anything against him.
And
that means we are not ready to apply the law evenly.
So we're saying the same
But
thing.
you're saying the same thing because what Ekene is saying is that, look, the government comes from the society. And the people form the society. And if you have a society of unruly people who disrespect the law, and they're still going to be.
It's not that simplistic.
I think that's what you're saying.
But we also need to take it back to the leader. If the leader disrespects the law, if the leader does not follow the rule of law, then the people are going to follow him.
We agree.
Yeah.
And the leader comes from the people.
No,
it's not an alien that came from another.
It's not that simplistic.
Exactly.
I'm actually agreeing with
Ireti, I strongly
suspect
that society was not as bad, and it's the government that has made the society bad.
Well,
so now we're in a catch-22 where we will take bad people from society and back into government, and we are now caught in that
We need
trap.
to discuss
but
that.
And the leader has to lead by example, and our leader is not leading by example, in my opinion, and that's what I think.
just like your favorite friend Trump.
So your advocacy now is that
America. We're talking about Nigeria right now.
And the other favorite OBJ you mentioned him in your screen.
Let's trend it.
So your advocacy now is that our leaders should lead by example.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
what we're practicing.
really, that's what leadership is
OBJ is
about.
not our leader right now.
Yeah, but when he was, we say successive bad government.
What are we talking about today?
He's one of them. He's one of them.
He's one of them.
He's one of them.
But actually, I still want to argue that obviously
He's even two bad leaders in one.
Thank
you.
you.
Twice.
Democracy is more than the leaders, and I'm just putting that forward. The reason why I think Ireti, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, I think you and liberals seem to be quick to say we need liberals backed off a bit. We need a benevolent dictator.
No, I didn't
No,
say
he was just
saying
he was not being articulated
yes.
to me. Okay. The reason why some people have that angle on things is because they feel maybe the masses are not yet educated enough, politically educated to engage in a democracy.
And what happened? Why did the masses?
No, that's not why. But unfortunately,
because
that's
the
not
government
why I
does not
say
invest
that.
in the masses.
In them.
Yes,
in
that's
their
the reason.
education.
And why don't they do that?
because
Because they actually want masses to
be
in
like that.
It's not because I don't.
Yes.
It's not because.
It is a form of.
Allow me
It is
to
a form
correct it
of oppression.
before we close.
It really
Okay.
yes, to keep them
Allow me to
brain
correct it
dead
before we
and
close.
brain dead and engaged with worrying about all kinds of matters of the basic problems that we shouldn't be worrying about, lights, road. If we're worrying about all those things, then we won't even have time to be bothering ourselves about rule of law, not rule of law. But thank God some of us still have a brain. So let's use it.
No, but let me just correct that notion. It's not because the reason I suggest a benevolent dictator, and also I suggest, so it's two different things, our own type of Nigerian-tailored democracy, is not so much because I believe that the masses are undereducated. No, it's because I believe there's a nuance to us in this country that's quite unique to other people, and we must begin to look within ourselves. Like Chuka said, and he said, many years ago, the society couldn't have been this bad. We had successful governments that made the society this bad. So what was our value many years ago that we've lost?
Wow, that was heated. Well, now it's time for a break already, and when we return, Chuka will be starting a small revolution.
And here's my revolutionary offering. If it was not so obvious previously, it is now. Nigeria needs to revert to the parliamentary system of government bequeathed to us by the colonial government. Within this system, there will be just one House of Parliament, and certainly the laughable House of Chiefs will not be resurrected. Now, here's the thing. To be Prime Minister, a cabinet minister, or other such position, you must be first a member of the House. What would that do for the smaller prime ministerial candidates who come in and fade away after 4 years or even forever? Well, they remain in the House, as they couldn't have competed except they had been elected into the House, and their party is creditably represented in Parliament. That party has a chance to grow and a mouth to speak with. Why do we have what we do now? Because the president is a quasi-dictatorial position. He gets lobbied for ministerial slots from far and wide. He becomes some sort of monster. We squander money on more salaries for more positions. Now, how government here loves all this. What we need is that simple. The Prime Minister, nothing more.
It's not that simple.
Okay,
So,
break it down for us.
We're being radical today, aren't we?
Yes,
it's
indeed.
it's not that simple, because when you look at the British system, you know, the British runs a unitary system of government, while we run a federal system of government. You know, and so if you run a federal system of government where you have states also, you know, so are you going to replicate this parliamentary system of government at the states, various states level or so? And like also when we say we're advocating for a system that suits us, if parliamentary system of government works for Lagos, will it work for the man in Yenegua, or will it work for the... So it's not...
Well, actually, I found out that some people
sorry.
actually-
So what's basically it's happening is not that because we don't have parliamentary system of government at the center, and that's why it's like this. It's because the center is too attractive. When the center is too attractive, it will attract all sorts. But when you make it unattractive, or that you get to the center, you need to work for what comes. Not that you get there, everything comes to you as of right, and then you just sit down and share and make money and get. It will be this way. Government in Nigeria is too attractive. Even if you make it a parliamentary system, people will still kill and lobby to get there because it is very attractive. When you make governance or government a place of service, truly, it will not be that attractive to all comers. That's why now everybody wants to be president of Nigeria, because we look at it like a local government.
Yeah.
I was actually hoping somebody could enlighten me, particularly as to, because I saw that last year it was brought before the House of
We
Senate.
have to keep discussing
that they needed to actually change it to the parliamentary. But
Yes.
before that, they had asked that what's the word that people are campaigning for? You know, when you say you want to
Restructuring.
restructure. They
Okay,
said they wanted
restructuring,
to restructure Nigeria as a basis for opting for the parliamentary system. And someone then even described that the reason why the parliamentary system didn't work in the first place was because the divisions were too lopsided. So you had the North carrying too heavy, like one third of the nation's power or representation.
Right.
And so if it needs to be that, then I'm all for it. I think you need to
Because
restructure.
at the end of the
to
day,
make it
you
work.
see
Then
another
restructure.
one big
liberals,
problem that we
your-
have.
yes.
Sorry,
Yeah.
one other big problem that we have in Nigeria, it's we are divided along ethnic lines, tribes, and religion. That you also can't take away. When you have a parliament, even as we speak now, some people in the South are agitating for more states to balance out.
Okay.
And so they say, look, how can they not have so-so number and the South have this number? And so anytime there is a debate on issues, it means one section will always have the upper hand.
Resi, please come in. I want to.
Yes.
So
she wants
this is
to, yes.
I'm totally,
Yeah.
totally in favor. I would vote for a parliamentary system like yesterday. Seriously. First and foremost, cost. Like you said. The president's system, it's far too expensive. One of the most annoying things in a presidential system is that whole thing, once a president, always a president. Incidentally, the other thing that happens with the parliamentary
Same
system...
way, once a prime minister?
No. It's a former prime minister. You go back to an MP.
And you go back to your MP position.
You go back
and you'll be in
become,
parliament.
You can even become a backbencher.
That's
if
it.
you don't have... If you
When
don't have
when I say once
like
I'm
Netanyahu,
yes,
who then came back again.
what I'm saying by here, we have...
No, but let
this-
me just finish.
Okay, yes.
Let me just complete my... So for me is that, so once you've stopped being a president or prime minister, you go back. But the difference, and also one of the critical things which we all say, is we want our politicians to work,
And to be
right?
accountable.
The one thing, whatever party you're in, the
answer
one
to
thing
us.
we do agree to is that they don't work hard
They don't
enough.
work hard enough.
And the parliamentary system
Forces
you to work. In
Absolutely.
fact,
Work where?
one of you, as
our
an
parliament's
MP,
working.
No, allow me.
Don't we have
Yes.
parliament?
No, allow me.
no, it's
we
the way
don't.
we are doing
And
it that
also,
makes us not work.
No, allow me. And also, what you also get is not just them working. One of the things I love is the way they actually debate.
Yes.
We
Absolutely.
get to understand what.
Don't
all
they
parties
debate
are saying.
in American
No, in
parliament?
Nigeria, I'm
But, you know,
talking about
They don't
about
debate as well
Nigeria. They don't
as
debate
the
as well.
West.
No, in a presidential system, they don't really debate.
yeah.
They don't
they
really
do,
debate.
they debate.
Not
No, they
as
debate.
much. Not as much as
but not as much as the parliamentary.
No, not as much
Let
as
the British
parliamentary
people
system.
finish their
I watch
parliamentary,
it.
then
No, they
whether you
debate,
give
they
us
debate.
room.
Not as much. Not as much.
But I
No, you
agree
see-
with Liberos because
Yes.
really I don't really think, I like the parliamentary system, don't get me wrong, but I actually don't think that it is about what system, whatever.
Fair enough.
I think that what Liberos is truly saying is that for as long as it is made very attractive
At the center.
at the center, or
No
to
matter the system you
serve your
practice.
country, you're not really going to get
Yeah,
the
but a
right...
presidential system makes it like
Wait,
that.
let me-
That's the point.
let me-
You
let me
have-
add-
in other words,
I
you
was-
put a devolution
yeah,
from the
yeah,
center.
the truth of the matter.
You need to break power, and the only way
Absolutely.
to break power away from the center is to have MPs spread
That's
all
it.
over.
That's correct.
Already.
Absolutely correct.
When you finish, you allow me
We
draw the
already know
analogy.
that
no,
in
no.
Nigeria
Liberals
we have a
mentioned-
hybrid of everything. We never have, even if you have your own parliamentary system, trust me, your parliamentary system is going to have a bit of dictatorship in there and all of that.
I'm not
And even
suggesting-
the salaries that those people earn will still probably mirror what they earn now.
Yes,
So
but there'll be less.
So
See,
I
but
think the
Chuka,
main thing we should be looking
this-
at really is how much these people
Chuka,
earn.
no.
more than
But
that.
what you guys
The
said,
attractiveness.
let me ask the question,
Yes.
because what Uche says made me think. Why is it that even the American system we're mimicking, we overdo our own?
We
That's
always
what
do.
I'm
The
saying.
Americans don't abuse it.
Wait,
we
look,
abuse it.
Because we're different.
That's the
and
bottom
that's why
line.
he keeps saying, but can I just make the point? Because
Make the
Liberals
point, let
talks
me-
about attractiveness.
Yeah.
The parliamentary system is inherently less attractive
Thank you.
But we will
than the
not
presidential.
vote like that.
But that's not the debate. is, do we need it?
Lock in on that.
Ekene,
Once you lock in on
Ekene,
it,
Lock in on that.
Do
there'll
you
be less
know-
people
do
to
you
serve.
know
To
that
be a
in
minister,
America-
hang on, to be a minister, you have to be a member of the House.
Precisely.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
You don't just go and
And
pick one
yes.
Femi Fanika, your friend, and bring him
Your
in.
cousin from back in
Femi,
the
are you a
village?
member of the House? No. Sorry, I can't.
I agree with you. I agree with
I
you.
agree with
We've
you
got
too.
to make
but-
people have to
well,
work.
let me-
Hang on, and best of all, the president who can right now the president can't even debate.
Yeah,
It wouldn't have happened if we had a parliamentary
If we had a
system,
parliamentary
because
system.
that man would not be the president.
Look at
Debates
Brexit
don't
and look
make
at what
you-
happened
he
with
would
the
not.
borders.
Debates don't make good leaders.
Actually, they do.
No, not
It
debates.
does
Let me-
actually.
let me-
It
let
does.
me-
No, he can't
Debate
debate
is
allowed
allowed.
the House.
They do.
Allowed you. Let
liberals,
me
he
draw
can't
an
debate
analogy.
in the House. Do you get
You
me?
know,
Forget
you know the problem
Prime
sometimes.
Minister. Yeah.
You know the problem sometimes. Initially, we talked about having a system that works here.
Yes.
What we always want to do is, it's working there. Let's quickly copy.
No. I'm not that.
Allow
I'm not
me
that
land.
shallow.
Let him land because
Allow me land. In America, do you know that senators sleeps in the office because they can't afford to go rent expensive houses?
Correct. Well, that's overdoing it. They don't want to pay.
Because
They don't
it
have
is-
that much,
They
but
don't have
but
the
they don't want
money.
to go and pay,
It's
sir.
service.
They can
It is
pay.
not about.
Exactly.
It's service. In America, you have bills. You table them. It is debated upon, and at the end of the day, it's about service to your people. In America, everybody knows what the president earns.
Yes.
But here, the same system we are operating, it is subject to abuse. because governance and government is attractive.
Exactly.
Lastly, the peculiarity of our situation, we create more crisis for us than solution. So what we have now is how to first and foremost make government unattractive. So it will attract people that are ready to work.
You have a president.
Reduce cost of governance.
You have a president.
First and foremost.
Yeah, but the same people you want to reduce it are the same people that have to vote for it.
Excuse me. So when you reduce the cost of governance first and foremost,
vote for a pay cut.
and if they won't vote for a pay cut, why do you now think they will vote for one?
First of all, we'll cut down the numbers, right?
Thank you.
And how do you do that?
No, because there'll be less people in the house.
The ones that will cut down the
there'll be less people in the house.
The first way
then let me tell you something else.
is by making it less attractive.
It is less attractive because of the system itself, where a president has to visit the house as if he's a VIP guest to a house.
Yes.
Can you imagine that?
To the
A man who
people
should roll up his
he
sleeves
was
and
supposed to
sit down
report
next
to.
to the people?
Even in American presidential system of government, the president does not visit the house as a guest.
Just a quick one, just before we wrap up. The difference between, the very clear difference between a presidential system and a parliamentary system is, go and watch Brexit right now. What's happened?
It has nothing to
that. No, allow me. We're closing. And then go and watch what has happened. The way Trump was able to hold America to ransom.
All right then.
Those two will tell you the remarkable difference. Why one is better than the other.
Let's go for another
Trump
quick
obsession.
cool down break, and when we return, liberals will be tackling things at the foundation.
Welcome to The Advocate, a program that thrashes out all the topical issues of the day.
When you are in government, you don't see nothing wrong with whatever is happening. The moment you are out there, everything is wrong.
You can't even see many women now, and when they're there, they're not even really making a mark, and then they have an NYSC problem and this and that.
One of the reasons why we don't have more women in politics in Nigeria is for as long as political meetings continue to take place in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Really disastrous for a president
To even say
be
he's unaware.
unaware of the chief
It's
justice.
a ploy. It could be a strategy.
That strategy was
Backfired.
terrible strategy. Because the buck stops at your table.
Whether it's that we don't look after our cities, and quite frankly, Nigeria is becoming a very ugly place.
When you are the only one feeding the people with this news, and there is nobody countering them, it becomes, the news. Welcome back. You're watching The Advocate on Plus TV Africa. We're back in the ring for the third round. If you don't want to be forgotten as soon as you're dead, either write things worth reading or do things worth writing about. My focus today is not to talk about politics, posters, or national anthem, but to advocate for a paradigm shift in our education and learning process by providing insight on how school processes have continued to teach us to seek for jobs rather than create jobs. Oftentimes you see parents, even ones with business, ready to beg their way through in order for their kids to be employed. Our university curriculum is also tailored to create job seekers rather than job creators. No nation can develop by churning out from their university graduates who are job seekers. As the population of the world is growing geometrically, have we ever stopped to ask ourselves, what solution are we bringing to the table? If we are not seeking for jobs, we're seeking for visas to travel out of Nigeria, or seeking for foreign investors, and sometimes seeking for direct foreign investment, and on the other hand, seeking for foreign loans. We are all nation of seekers. No wonder we are sick as a nation. We seek leaders who will seek medical attention abroad for little sickness. For us as a nation to be far removed from our present poverty capital of the world, position to become a great nation, as from 9th today, we must realize that we must begin to create solutions and add values to the world population and not become part of the problem. If only we can, all as a nation, collectively and individually, teach and learn to identify problems and create solutions to this problem, the world will cut a path to us and seek us out. What do you think?
Well, look,
Today is like revolution day.
Well, we're going to change Nigeria. Watch. Right?
I like what you said, but I don't really believe that we're not already doing that. I think the economic situation in Nigeria has forced many to stop seeking jobs and become creators of jobs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I also think that you're selling us.
No.
I think you're also selling us a bit short in one of that you're saying, you know, that we're seeking that we need to start seeking solutions, and we are forever seeking solutions. We have no light, we provide jet. Everybody is like a mini economy.
Republic.
Republic even. We have to do everything. Our roads are bad, we buy Jeeps. You know, I mean, weather is terrible.
These are not solutions.
But they are to us.
No, they actually are solutions. Because
okay, let me come in, because yesterday I happened to meet a lady who inspired me, because she by herself has started an NGO, and shout out I Teach Nigeria. I may not even be getting it right. But she basically had to by herself go and engage a mini army and get them into schools. These are very highly educated people, 2-1 and above, who are going into schools like on a mission. They're really doing what the NYSC should have done. And she's equipping them, or they train them. So they go in there with revolutionary teaching techniques. And she showed me some of pictures. You then see a small boy who has constructed his own car with a light bulb because he's been inspired. And they don't even have the equipment like that. The teachers are being paid like 70,000 naira. And everything is being raised from the grassroots. People are paying, volunteering, and they're really doing it on a mission, because they see that if they can turn around the way the young people think and the way they imbibe education, then these ones will now go out with a mind that I will be the solution, I'll be the answer to Nigeria's problems, rather than another mouth to feed.
Well, go to Aba and you will see that they are doing exactly that.
You see, the drop on the ocean that are doing it, we need to encourage more people to do. That's why, like the lady you talked about, that's why you have people like that. They look at the structure, like the curriculum from the school teaches you graduates, get a job,
like
and not graduates and create a job.
Yes.
A lady came to me, and she's looking for a job, and I said, look, I have somebody who read BSc Economics, and after she graduated from the university, Unilag, for that matter, a lady, she said, you know what, I want to go learn how to make dresses. She learned how to make clothes.
I see you looked at my dress.
Yes, because this is beautiful.
Maybe she could, thank you.
Yeah, and so she learned how to make clothes. She started from her bedroom by looking for people who needs to wear clothes. That's, you identify a problem, but not you have bad roads, you buy Jeeps. That's, for me, it's not creating solutions. We are not creating these generators. We don't create them. We buy them, and we enrich another economy.
But Uche is right. The economic situation is making us think more. There are more creators now. There are more
yes.
now.
Yeah, I agree.
What I don't like about what Liberos is saying, yes, I understand what you're saying, but I don't like it, because you're taking away the responsibility of the government. They're supposed to create a friendly environment for businesses to thrive. Why are we now removing the responsibility?
I said we have it's additional. It's additional. You are the one that's removing government.
No, you just said
I said government. I said individually and collectively.
It's really unusual here.
I think that the
government 6, the individual 6. All of us are seeking.
No, but the reason we are seeking, we are graduates. Not all of us should, like they keep saying, everybody should go and farm. We don't all want to farm.
No, we don't all want to let shoes on than trees on a farm.
Exactly.
The man who went to farm, he ran back to Asura.
Some of us want to use our brains, and make soap and jewelry. We don't want to do that. So why are we being forced?
Okay, can I come in? Can I be the referee? I'm actually wearing blue, if you all see me in this brown, because I'm the peacemaker right this moment. Yes, now, here's an anomaly. You don't hear this often.
Okay.
I agree with Uche. Where's the bell? Bang, bang. So, I'll tell you why I agree with Uche.
It's okay.
I'll tell you why I agree with Uche. No, the audience will be in shock as well. It's like, gosh, this never happened. And it's only episode 4, shock horror. So the reason I agree with Uche is several things. First and foremost, I think we are creative people, and you're actually doing a disservice to Nigerians as a whole for finding ways to manage what is effectively become an abyss, sorry to say. That's number one. And just because, and it is a solution, I'm a solutions provider, right? I'm a project director. That's what I do. We provide solutions. I've worked in IT telecoms for many years. Right. Word, okay. I told you this is happening. And you and I are not getting a divorce, by the way. She's just going to be the bridesmaid or something. No, and this is what I'm saying. So you do provide solutions because you identify a problem and you find mitigators. And one of the mitigators is, yes, it's a bad road. If you can afford it, get a Jeep. That's one. Number two is, no. Nigerians actually are job creators. The
Honestly.
borrowers. Look, I actually
Round
got to
up.
the
Let
point.
me
You see, you will do this.
drive
when I'm not
this.
agreeing
No,
with him.
please leave it. I
Because
want her to land.
I
round
get
up.
one of the things that really winds me up is the fact that the government is beginning, and the country itself is beginning to franchise its responsibility
Exactly.
of providing
I
jobs
believe so.
by saying to every single graduate, go and create jobs. Where is the point of learning?
Yeah.
I didn't start my own
You-
business
you
from
see,
leaving university.
But you are in
People
business
must learn.
today.
Will you
Now
allow
I'm
me
in
to take it
business
from here
today.
now?
You know, you will
see-
not allow me to finish because I'm on her
How
side.
many hours will you use to finish? You
the
see,
gang up.
where the issues are, you look at it strictly from a very few percentage point of view. The government needs, first and foremost, I talked about learning. You need to, the only way you create wealth in a society, your learning process, the world is diversifying to a knowledge-based economy and not this farming. Farming is poverty if you cannot add value to it. That's why they could come and tell you, Panama, yes, from today this land is the Queen's land, and no question asked. If we were also thinking as high as they were by finding solutions, we wouldn't be here. And that's why, if you also, now you identify the fact that government has failed you. The government has failed. We are waking up the government to say, look, you need to be creative and not seeking. And that's why I said you have government that is seeking for investors, seeking
that was the part I liked.
And then you have the people also who are waiting on the government that will seek, bring, and then we all spend.
But I think the majority of
And
Nigerians are creating jobs
and lastly,
we have a huge
and that's
entrepreneurial
why-
sector.
And
huge.
lastly, we can have more.
Yeah,
And
but
lastly,
the youth are actually creating
la-
it themselves.
even started.
Let him land this
Yes.
plane.
Lastly, anyway.
lastly, on this issue, you find out that now that you see people are creating more, it's actually creating jobs. People are no longer waiting for government, and now the government is reacting, and it's like the government is lagging behind.
Absolutely. Oh, the
And
government
so,
always
at the
does in
end
this
of the
country.
day, head or tail, once you learn to create,
You win.
you
And
win.
you see, you've just confirmed what Uche and I were saying, so you
you've
might
come-
end up with
that's
two
true.
wives and one husband. Because that's what we were saying, is that the people are being creative. And definitely, government is lagging behind.
Yeah.
Government is actually having to realize that, you know what, the youth of Nigeria are creating, they've been entrepreneurial. Look at the tech industry. Mark Zuckerberg came here because of us Nigerians.
And
He didn't come here to look for
even
Igbos.
when we
And now he's
create,
just given
even
one
when we
chap
create,
15
And
the
you know what's the
environment
point?
sometimes
$1
even
Shall I tell you
kills
what-
that same
$1
business that we
Shall I tell you
create.
what's
It doesn't
really
allow us
interesting?
I agree with
if
you.
Look at, if you look at a lot of the
What
fintech,
my
the really
point of
successful
advocacy-
fintech, none of them come from the middle class
My
family.
point of
These people are
advocacy-
people who come from poor families,
Yeah.
who have worked their way and they've used their head and become creative.
My point of
We can't take that away
advocacy
from
is
them.
look at those creating, look at the benefit.
Right.
Those that are not creating, including government, you need to start creating
more. Yes,
so that
yes.
it will be a win-win.
'Cause we're
That's the
200
only
million
way
people.
we can be removed
From-
from our present state to where we want to be.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
So
You
effectively-
look at it strictly from government side as if I'm defending
No,
government.
no, I'm looking at it from a wider part.
You're not. You've narrowed it to only government. No, that's not the issue. It shouldn't be. Oh, funny how time flies when you're having fun. Time for another break, and when we return, I'll be handing over the baton to Reti, and I know definitely it will be hot.
It will be hotter.
Welcome to The Advocate, a program that thrashes out all the topical issues of the day.
When you are in government, you don't see nothing wrong with whatever is happening. The moment
Self-interest.
you are out there, everything is wrong.
You can't even see
Yes.
many women now, and when they're there, they're not even really making a mark, and then they have an NYSC problem and this and that.
One of the reasons why we don't have more women in politics in Nigeria is for as long as political meetings continue to take place in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
No, really.
Disastrous for a president
To even say
be
he's unaware.
unaware of the chief
It's
justice.
a ploy.
It could be a strategy.
That strategy was very,
Backfire.
very terrible strategy. Because the buck stops at your table.
Whether it's that we don't look after our cities, and quite frankly, Nigeria is becoming a very ugly place.
When you are the only one feeding the people with this news and there is nobody countering them, it becomes, the news.
Ghanaian and Nigerian heritage. While the Ghanaians and the other ethnic minorities went about their parliamentary and constituent duties, this week, Labour MP Fiona Onosanya became the first British sitting MP to be jailed in 29 years. Onosanya was caught driving over the speed limit by a speed camera. Rather than tell the truth and submit herself for justice to be served, Onosanya chose the disgraceful route of lies and deceit. She denied being behind the wheel and instead submits her brother's name as the driver. Well, foolishly, he also went along with the lie. And what happens? Boom. They're both now convicted criminals, guilty of perverting the course of justice. In another case, unrelated of course, another Nigerian MP, Kate Osamo, was forced to resign her position in December last year amid accusations that she had lied about having knowledge of her son's conviction, even though she had written to the judge on her son's behalf to ask for leniency. Her son, Ishmael, who she had also employed in a parliamentary office as senior communications officer, had been caught with 2,500 worth of illegal drugs last year. He was sentenced to 200 hours of community service. Again, like her brethren on Onosanya, Osamo chose to cunningly deny knowledge of her son's case, and in some press reports was said to have been verbally aggressive and abusive. It's not news that being a Nigerian or even presenting our green passport at a foreign office, foreign immigration desk, is met with sniggers, suspicions, and several negative connotations. So what is wrong with us? Is it because we hail from a country of general lawlessness? Can the corruptive nature of successful governments be blamed for instilling such behavior in us? Or are we just a nation of unruly people? In a world where we are already painted bad, must we be the ones to hand out the paint and paintbrush to those who already dislike us?
Fascinating.
And I disagree with those your conclusions.
Well, I didn't conclude, I was asking.
Vehemently.
Yeah.
I did not
Before we
conclude,
get
I
to
was
the
asking.
conclusions, let me be the advocate
But-
for these two ladies.
Aha.
Because I followed their story, I read up on it. Let me not say I followed it like I started from the inception, but I read up on it. And I was actually sympathetic towards them, simply because, forget that they're Nigerians. Just imagine that these are two women who had a point to prove. One of them, I think, the father died. She was raised by the mother. Another one, I think, they were, had a poor background. So they wanted to show, and I think one of them, I think the first one, Onasa Fiona, said she wanted to be the first black prime minister.
So
they had, I'm just trying to say that they had something to prove.
So?
And then they come on this kind of a stage, and if you notice, both of them,
They let themselves down.
I'm coming. Both of them are caught out, not because of that what they did was so bad, but because they tried to hide it. So I'm trying to explain that if you go into their psyche, you're dealing with people who were afraid of losing their privileged position.
I totally
that they actually
disagree.
fell
They don't
into
deserve
the
it.
Justifying
They don't
lies.
deserve
the
it.
trap.
They
So
don't
I
deserve
tend to,
that
I'm
position.
sympathetic towards them simply because I think that they're victims of a bigger problem than just Nigerians. Where the politicians are forced to live double lives because that whole public.
You shouldn't lie as a member
No,
of
course
society.
you shouldn't, but I'm just trying to
let alone
explain
being a
what
politician.
put them
You
under
can't
pressure to do
How
what
can
they
you
did.
explain somebody blatantly deceiving?
It's
She was
I'm
driving.
afraid.
Fear
no.
is not justification by law, it's fair justification by law.
Justifying
No,
it
please,
by
Mr.
any
Lawyer.
way, but I'm just trying to.
No,
You have asked me,
can't
allow
understand them
me
now.
to zero in now.
Sorry, before you zero in, because I may not get another chance. Also, when I looked at these two women, I realized these two women were raised in England. They're really, by all accounts,
They're British, as far as I
agree.
Yeah, so,
British.
that's my point of disagreement. That's why I said vehemently disagree with, trying to pigeonhole them as Nigerians and then relating it because we have corrupt governments in Nigeria and all of that.
And sorry, before you even carry on, there's a thing with the British. They love to do this. Once the Nigerian...
Anthony Joshua wins the murder, he's British.
British, yes. And
Once
then when
he
you
commits
commit
a crime,
you
he's
become a
Nigerian.
So we're doing the same thing.
I want them
They're
to
now
finish.
British.
I want
so
them to let me
exactly.
finish
There's a
before I
point
come
I'll
back on that.
It's not like I always say, world over.
Yeah.
People commit crimes.
Yes, they do.
What regulates society is the application and the applicability of law equally.
you.
And so the difference there, I agree, MPs are forced to live double lives. Yes, because there is a higher responsibility placed on them by the society at that level. David Blunkett was forced to resign her position for issuing a train ticket meant for MPs' wives to a girlfriend. And the same way they initially forced him to resign for using his office to facilitate the issuance of a visa to a girlfriend's nanny.
And isn't that what we want?
If it's here, but if it's here, it will be a different ball game. But it is not that, oh, these ladies are Nigerians, that's why they committed. No. If you take a census of crimes committed in some of these countries, we don't commit crimes here. When some people, blue chips crime, somebody will sit down and plan a crime for 1 year.
Okay.
You do hardly hear of it because it's not in Nigeria.
And take us all up.
Yeah.
It's not true that when it's time to sing and dance, they're British. When it's time to whatever,
It's true,
they're
it's
Nigerians.
true, it's true.
The truth of the matter is this, and you get to the bottom of this. Osamo and Onosanya their dream had Nigerian beginnings, whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
They had black beginnings.
Exactly.
They knew it's blacks that voted them in as well, because they made sure they went to black constituencies. They are black champions. They are black.
There's a lot of black people.
Yes,
There's
they
enough
are,
black
they are
people.
black champions, whether you like it or not. And much as I don't like it, you see, I like to think, I'm still old-fashioned. You know, I like to think that a country is owned by its indigenes, if you want to put it like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes I get a bit angry when black people just keep talking. Oh, we need I think it's time we had a black prime minister. And I'm like, hey, please.
Okay.
You know, this
Shall
is
we look at
now.
the crime?
Now,
Can we look
this
at the crime
now when
they
hang on. Now, when they come,
So when
they behave like this,
when
your son,
when the
is on-
whites commit crime,
It's
and
not
they
that.
get votes
It's
from,
not that, and that's what he's saying.
No, but
So
hold
that's
on.
what I'm saying. So
Hold
this
on,
is
no.
not a
Chuka,
case
I
of
want you to
they
finish.
committed this because they are
No,
Nigerians,
yeah.
or why are we like
that's
this?
not what I'm saying.
That's not what I'm
Go
saying.
ahead, and that's
so
not what
when
he's
they
saying.
get to that position of authority, they need not drag us down so badly the way they have, because they
agree
got
with
there
you,
thinking they were
but
black champions.
I
They
agree
didn't go
with
there
you.
as
Don't make
British
it look
champions.
as if
And so
they got there. They got
In
there
fact, I dare say that they
thinking.
have not assimilated themselves in their head into the UK.
I've got to.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but don't make it look as if they committed the crime because they are black.
No, I am actually offended.
They
Chuka,
have no allegiance
because
to the Queen.
What you're doing is
That's
like you
what
have
it is.
placed
They have
the
no
blame
allegiance
on-
to the Queen.
You know, Chuka schooled
it's as if you're
he
speaking
did
for
A-levels,
people,
from
not
A-levels to
Hang on.
university.
That
So-
has got nothing to do with
You know,
it.
he has allegiance to the Queen.
Please, let me talk. I have something to say. How can you say that,
They will
Chuka?
not sing God Save the Queen with its
What you're saying,
complete-
they haven't assimilated to
They have not
the
yet.
high level of the Oyinbo people. What
No,
rubbish?
which high level? No.
because
I
you
said
they haven't
even no, they have not assimilated to the UK in the first place.
What do you
High,
mean?
low.
Are the UK
They are.
are the
It's not about assimilation.
They are trying
Is
to create
is
their.
the UK corruption free? Is
No.
it crime
What I'm
free?
saying, they are creating their own UK, and it's not working.
They are not.
They've
They
been
are just
caught
being
now
human.
paying
Is-
sons
What is
money.
the crime
Is the
that
Prime
these two
Minister
people
not
did?
creating
No.
her own
What is the
UK?
crime that
Is
these
it
two
working
people
for
did? They're
her?
just being human.
Is she
One
black?
is-
in the old
yes,
UK.
one
If
is
she were-
covering for her
Liberals,
son.
please, let me just
One
read
is
this.
covering for
Uche.
her son.
Uche,
The
let
other
me just-
son is covering from his
Let me
mom.
read this because it may
I
support
don't
what
get
Uche is
it.
saying. You know, The Independent, there's an article I found which
People are
says,
just-
let me just read a paragraph of it. It says, while Osama's employment, what they pronounce it, employment by his MP mother might justifiably feel like an irritating or unjust allocation of the public purse, he's apparently good at his job and works hard for his just above average 30,000 to 35,000 salary.
Yeah.
This is absolutely not true of everyone. Boris Johnson, for example, is terrible at lots of things. I'm quoting, being foreign secretary springs to mind, but has been paid handsomely, irrespective of devastating slip-ups and unprofessional and damaging behavior. He earns 275,000 per year for his Daily Telegraph column, which, though it is not public money, puts him as an MP in a tricky position. I can go on.
Thank you.
No, allow me to come in.
No problem.
Allow me to come in at
They're
this
supporting
point.
You know what? When this
They're supporting what I've
Allow
said.
me to come in at this
They're
point.
supporting what I've said.
When
This is
Ireti
a
brought
free
this topic
It's not
up,
supporting
can I
what you
just talk,
said.
please, because I'm actually
Right,
pained
okay,
by
I need
this.
to close,
When Ireti brought
but-
this topic up, it really pained me because I felt,
I'm glad
what
you
are we
felt the
doing?
pain.
We're
That's
just
how I
now-
feel with
We're just
Trump.
now trying to act like, Nigerians cannot be human
I-
anymore.
no,
They're
that's
human
not what I'm
beings. They
saying.
make
So let me
mistakes.
come
We
back
don't have to
and
call it a
answer and
Nigerian
clarify.
problem.
No, before you answer,
come
let me
back
throw
and
another
answer and
poser. Let
clarify.
me throw another poser.
No, we need to-
You see, the issue here, my point really is, these two ladies, Onosanya and Osamo, didn't commit this crime because they are Nigerians.
Okay.
What I'm
what
saying
the two
is
of you are
that
saying.
no,
You need to
it's
express
not.
yourselves
No,
better.
it's not. No, it's not. What I am saying is that look, first of all, we can't. We are so quick, and we discussed this on the show maybe 3 episodes ago, how we Nigerians are quick to claim Nigerians abroad when they're carrying the flag, somebody else's flag that we didn't invest in. But all of a sudden, 2 Nigerians are not delivering, they're embarrassing themselves. Hold on, they are embarrassing themselves. And we say, no, they're not Nigerians.
No.
That is the point. They're embarrassing themselves.
Also, there is something inherent.
To wrap up,
There is
apparently.
you cannot separate the person from their indigent. It doesn't matter whether you are British. You will always remain a British Nigerian.
Trump today is Trump, not because of his origin. That's Trump. The same way. Let me finish.
Exactly.
Let me finish.
German.
He's actually come from Germany. I don't know what the Germans were like. The Germans gave us
Allow me.
The Germans gave us
Wait.
Can we just wrap up?
The same way you have criminals in England who are British, whites, British, original British, not the fake ones.
Exactly.
The same way you have criminals in Ireland, in Dublin, in Holland, everywhere. It's the same way you have criminals in Nigeria.
Yes.
It's everywhere. So these two ladies, yes, it is disgraceful in the society they are in, what they have done.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it because they are Nigerians or that it is Nigerians' ways of behaving. No. You have a lot of Anthony Joshua is a Nigerian for crying out loud.
That's not what I said.
There are so many Nigerians.
Yes, and the people of Shagamu were quick to adopt him.
Because we love Nigeria so much that we, No.
Anyway, I told you it was going to be fire. Now, before we go on a break, let's read some of your contributions to last week's advocacy.
Chichi Moma says, oh wow, speak it. Stunt women, magician, gymnast with fake bottom, fake nails. To think more could be added to the list. Great topic. Dayo Adeshile says he's a stumbling block to Nigerian greatness. Davis Audu says, Uche Okoli, don't mind Dayo Adeshile. OBJ was the best thing from the Southwest. When he was attacking GJ, APC supporters called him Mr. Integrity, the man of the truth. But now that he's going against PMB, he has all of a sudden become the guest that has overstayed his welcome. Dayo Adeshile says again, my brother, let's not go back to 1979 when Awo won the election, or how MKO sacrificed what was not recognized by Obasanjo's government. Ife Okoli Watson says, the advocate going from strength to strength. Enjoy this week offering. I'm in Chuka's corner on the tuneless anthem. How can you rouse anyone to action when you can't rouse anyone from sleep? And I say, Liberos for president. More, please. Feel free to join the conversation on Instagram at +TVAfrica, hashtag The Advocate, and on Twitter at +TVAfrica, hashtag The Advocate. We'd love to hear from you.
And now let's go for another break. And when we return, Ekene will take things in a different direction.
You're watching The Advocate on +TV Africa. Appropriately, I'm in the driver's seat today because I will be talking about our driving culture, a window to the soul. Taking a leaf from Debbie's book, From the Last Advocate, and seeking to go one more than Liberus, also from The Last Advocate. So go watch the previous edition. I'll be advocating that the cleansing of the major problem of corruption can be achieved by tackling our, wait for it, driving culture. The late Dora Akunyili defined corruption as simple.
And corruption is not just about giving or taking money. Corruption is about not doing the right thing.
Using this common sense definition, and potholes aside, anyone would agree that there is a lot of not doing the right thing on our roads today. Driving on the wrong side of the road, forming a separate additional lanes that then create a bottleneck, needless risk-taking maneuvers, I could go on. All these misdemeanors, and we have not yet mentioned the word politician yet, well ignoring the perennial abuse of sirens and escort vehicles. My point? We are all specimens of the corruption we analyze and diagnose in our beloved country. We parade this deadly driving culture more loudly than we could ever sing the national anthem. Keke napep, danfos, jeeps, pedestrians, everyone does what is right in their own eyes. We are saying every time we exhibit impatience, indiscipline, and a lack of consideration for other road users, me first, everyone else be damned. That is corruption in a nutshell. This is why I propose that anyone who single-mindedly tackles this lawless culture at street level will single-handedly solve indiscipline, and by correlation, do away with the culture of corruption in our beloved nation. Why? Simple, because you tackle a bad habit at the level of the daily, where habits are formed. We forge and consciously drive through a new behavioral pattern. Not exactly Hercules and the Augean stables, but it comes close.
Very, very
I
good.
could feel all your agreements.
You see, the funny thing
actually
is,
a good one to
if
end
you ever
on, so
drive
it
with
can
me in
cool
the
off.
same car, every single time you drive with me, you will notice that I'm going to be going on about everything that is going wrong on the road. And my staff in the office know that I have made a correlation between our behavior on the road,
and
what we
the
really
society.
All these people.
So it's really up your
and I am doing,
all of
and
these
because of that, I'm
people-
doing a documentary.
all of
about
these
it.
people-
This is a
Absolutely.
wonderful
Yeah.
topic.
All of these
Yeah.
people that are driving this way that you have described,
None of us do this, obviously.
all of them, all of them, take them from here to where laws are applied.
Yeah.
And?
You will see them drive correctly.
It will take some time.
Maybe not initially.
A little bit of
no,
time.
see, let me
A little
tell you.
bit.
Let
But
me
they
Few
don't even know.
fines down
Apart
the
from
line.
even the driving, let me give you a personal experience. We're in London at the airport. We're all on a queue. The moment we got to Murtala Mohammed International Airport, you know, the big men and women were collecting their passports and were shunting. I tapped one of them. I said, "Madam, you're an ambassador." When I said ambassador, that means everybody knows you.
Yeah.
In another man's country just now, we're on the queue. But here, in your own country,
You don't want to
You're
respect.
jumping
don't
the
want to-
queue. Yeah.
what's the guarantee that even if you come out of the airport before me, your bag will come out before me?
Exactly.
What's the
You know,
rush?
before mine. The driving culture, for me, I always talk about applicability of the law. When LASMA started applying law
Yes.
strictly in Lagos, even though they, at a point, they started abusing it, you saw that they said the fear of LASMA became the beginning of good driving.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Everybody will
Very much
maintain.
so.
What we need in Nigeria, like I say, it's not lack of laws, but the willpower to implement the one we
Enforce it.
have.
Okay.
In the same vein, if you go to these other countries where I say, oh, people will drive, if you allow them, you probably have what you have in
some more
Nigeria.
stories. You know,
Which is
who's
why
whose
you
son was-
feeling sorry for for Fiona Onosanya
Onosanya.
is actually showing the Nigerian
Look,
in you
I
that's
do.
living
I think we
in
have to-
Nigeria.
No,
You can't feel
I
sorry
don't-
because you have it that way.
Let me come back on that.
You cannot feel
I
sorry.
disagree on that.
And
How
you're
can you
driving.
say that? No,
Yes, now.
please. No, she said something, so I must come back on it. How can you say that, Ireti? I was simply being a human being. I'm just saying.
Oh, and
that
I'm being a robot.
No, I'm not. Because for you to say
You're being
I'm
British.
showing the
You're being
Nigerian
British.
in me
That's what I
when
thought
I'm
she was
complaining
going to
about
say.
bad driving really misses the point. I'm trying to say, look, here's the lady here who, for reasons that I have begun to understand,
You introduce a
is
topic,
behaving in a way that I can understand.
left the
It has
topic,
nothing to do
you
with the
have moved.
driving.
I know.
Back to the old topic.
back to the
Can
topic.
we-
resist.
I
Back
know,
to the topic.
this is it.
Yeah, back to the topic of driving.
Okay, let's go back.
Liberals, you see, the funny thing is that
went
the
off
problem
road.
for me does not even really exist in the fact that the same way we say people are badly behaved in Nigeria and all that. Let's look at driving very carefully. To drive on the road, you need to have lines on the road. You need
Yes.
to have double yellow, single yellow.
Single yellow.
You need to have a
Demarcation line in the
point that
middle.
tells you you're not
They're
the
expanding it now.
you're not the right of way.
Yes.
You're getting to a roundabout. There's going to be dotted line that tells
Yes.
you don't enter that roundabout.
need to have visible
if somebody
signs,
is on it,
road
and then
signs.
give way will be there. We don't have any.
Even visible road signs.
Okay, we don't have any. Second,
Yeah, coming
before
back.
we have the signs, yes, before we have the signs, we have the book.
Yes.
What's it called again?
Yes, the
I drive
driving
handbook.
handbook.
They have driver's code,
I have
yes.
it in my car, not because to obey traffic, but to
point out.
confront,
Yes.
to confront
Yes.
a road
Who
safety
doesn't know
man
the correct thing?
Yeah.
Who doesn't know the
Yeah.
correct
Absolutely.
thing.
Why doesn't he know the correct thing? The same way as other people who are driving don't even know it either.
Exactly.
Because none of them know it. There are no
Exactly.
driving tests, nothing. So
Exactly.
the bad driving we have now is because there is no system.
Why is there no system? Because of successive bad
Government.
government.
Thank you. I'm glad we're all agreed on
Yeah.
that point because this is at this point we have to call it a wrap. I'm really glad to hear Chuka flexing on this particular topic. And so we have to call it a day once again right here in the studios. However, the conversation goes on in the social media space as usual. On Instagram and Twitter at +TV Africa, #The Advocate. And on Facebook, +TV Africa, #again, The Advocate. And until the next time when we bring you more juicy and stimulating topics, let's keep talking and advocating for a better society. Bye-bye.
Welcome to The Advocate, a program that thrashes out all the topical issues of the day.
When you are in government, you don't see nothing wrong with whatever is happening. The moment
Self-interest.
you are out there, everything is wrong.
You can't even see
Yes.
many women now, and when they're there, they're not even really making a mark, and then they have an NYSC problem and this and that.
One of the reasons why we don't have more women in politics in Nigeria is for as long as political meetings continue to take place in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's disastrous for a president
To even say
to be
he's unaware.
unaware of the chief
It's a
justice.
ploy. It could be a strategy.
That strategy was
It's a
very
Backfired.
terrible strategy because the buck stops at your table.
Whether it's that we don't look after our cities and quite frankly, Nigeria is becoming a very ugly place.
When you are the only one feeding the people with this news and there is nobody countering them, it becomes, the news.
Yeah.